Hey everyone, Bobberbob here and welcome to a new video for a new year. Now today we're going to be reviewing my fairly new to me 2016 Harley-Davidson Ultra Limited CVO edition. So let's go and have a walk around and then let's get it out on the road and see what it's all about. Stunner. So this is my new to me from about 3 months ago 2016 Harley-Davidson CVO Ultra Limited. It's the ultra touring sort of class of bike, but with really the parts book thrown at it, some performance thrown at it, and just a lot of bling and finishing touches to make it like a special edition. Now I'll be doing a lot of describing of the bike once we're sort of out on the road, but just to sort of capture it on a bit of a walk around is really nice. The paint is exceptional with some nice graphics in there. The lovely tank badge, the air cleaner treatment, and the special all the same edition footboards, brake pedals, highway pegs, handlebar levers, those sorts of things, mirror stem, they all follow the same sort of theme. Got the one-touch bag system here, nice bags with liners, central locking, lots of comfort for the rider and the passenger. A real nice machine, all day comfort, heated seat, heated grips, cruise control, everything. Well, let's get it out on the road and let's see what she's got, and let's hear more about this bike. Well, good afternoon everybody, welcome to the channel. Today we are test riding my 2016 Harley-Davidson CVO Ultra Limited. We're also testing today my new Rode plug-in microphone that plugs into my Zoom recorder, because the GoPro is sitting in a spot where it's not going to capture the audio very well. This will be the third time that I've done this ride with the intention of trying to capture the audio and doing the review on this bike. So some of the footage is mixed in from previous rides, and the reason is I've tried to record essentially on a microphone that hasn't really been meant for this type of application. In fact, this little wand is from a Harley headset that I don't use, just to hold the mic on the end. So hopefully this is going to work. I've given it a bit of a try at home. It seemed to be a lot better quality. The old mic, I think, was quite particular on the direction that you had, whereas this one is specific. You're just talking to the end of it. It's got the dead cat on the end. Hopefully we're in business. I listened to people's sound on their motorcycle vlogging online, and it just sounds so clear and so good, and it's really annoying because it's like, man, I just want to try and get better sound. So hopefully this is going to give good sound and we'll actually be on to a winner. The setup I use, as you're looking at me this way, I've got my phone that operates the GoPro, I've got a Zoom that's on the handlebars capturing the audio, and I've got my GoPro mount using the RAM system with the little balls and the joints on them. So like I say, hopefully this is going to work out all right. We're going to do some different speeds. I'm just on some local streets at the moment, going around the 50k mark, and then we'll take it up to motorway speed, and in behind the fairing here hopefully we'll be right. So that's just a bit of a backdrop as to how we've got to this position right now. So as I've said, this is my 2016, new to me from about 3 months ago, CVO Ultra is really what they call it. It's a Harley-Davidson Ultra Limited, but in the CVO form, so it comes with a lot of extra bling, a lot of extra performance and spec, I suppose. It's an 1800. It's got the Screaming Eagle 110 in it. It's a twin cam bike. The 110 started in around 2007, I think, is when they introduced that engine in the first CVO or Screaming Eagle edition bikes, and it's been pretty much a reliable engine all the way through to when the Milwaukee 8s came in that replaced it in 2017. If you remember from my previous videos, I had a bike called Iceberg, which was a 2007 twin cam Ultra Classic, and that had the 96 engine, twin cam 96, with an uprated compensator, if you remember those videos, and also the Screaming Eagle 255 cam, which is the same cam that is in this bike as standard, in the 110 bike as standard. Now I'm coming up, you're only looking at me, but I'm coming up to the piece of road, I might put some B-roll into this, where it's quite a steep hill climb coming up the other way, where my other bike used to sit in probably 4th gear with its stage 2 cam in it, and it was never happy in 5th, and it was sounded like it was slightly not over revving, but revving a little higher in 4th, but 4th is what I used to have to pick. This bike, because it's got nearly 300cc on the old bike, this one cruises up the hill in 5th gear, possibly 6th, but 5th gear feels comfortable. Absolutely no worries at all. So it's the Screaming Eagle 110 cubic inch 1800cc platform. This is what they call a Rushmore era bike. We're just seeing now pretty much the outgoing Rushmore series, meaning the type of fairing and the type of baggage platform that was introduced in 2014. This bike replaced my Iceberg and my son's Black Stallion bike, whereby some of the handles changed, some of the bag capacities changed, and of note really was some of the aerodynamics changed on this era bike. This is 2 years in, whereby the fairing at the front introduced the vent, whereby really changing the dynamic of how the wind flows behind the screen and for the rider. And this is a far more comfortable arrangement. You can have the vent open or closed. I think on the new bikes they're always open, but on this bike you've got the choice. And the thing about that is that it was a real relief for the buffeting issue. Now what I've done on this bike is actually put on this bike, when I got it, a higher screen, a taller screen. The CVO bikes come with, I believe as factory standard, a 10-inch screen, whereas the Ultra Limiteds, their equivalent but non-CVO brethren, they come with a 12-inch screen, and I've put that on this bike, and for me, I mean I'm only 6 foot, but I just have a frame that tends to not like helmet buffet, and this is a much more comfortable arrangement for me. I'm also riding today, as you can see, with my open face helmet. Now we might get onto some things I like and things I don't like, but one of the things that the open face helmet certainly does is it gives me a more comfortable ride with what we might call the upwind from under the fairings. Because this is an Ultra and not the road glide, there are some gaps where the airflow can still come from lower down, but it sort of bounces and comes up my body and up to underneath my helmet. And when I've done a long ride on my with my full helmet on a bike ride, like all day, like touring and stuff, it actually, you really notice it, and either I need to change my helmet or I just need to do something around a wind collar or something, but it's just quite noticeable. This, funnily enough, doesn't have hardly any of that issue at all, and it's more comfortable when you're doing the ride. So this bike's pretty chromed out. It's got its own series of wing mirror holders or handlebar mirror holders, the foot pegs, the handlebar grips, the passenger pegs. It's all a signature series. Now they come with that. They come with heated grips, but so do the Limiteds. This one comes with a heated seat, separate front and rear, and 2 different settings. Absolutely great. I mean, it's a bit like having that in a car when you've never had it, and then you realise, oh, I'll never not have it again. When we did the rally last November, about 3 or 4 months ago, even though it wasn't cold, it was sort of early summer, it was just absolutely beautiful to have that luxury in the mornings to heat oneself. So heated seat. This bike also comes factory with a rider backrest, and it's the spring together. You pull the 2 tines, and then you sort of pull it together and you click it in. And I've actually upgraded this, or changed this one, to the remote forward and back adjustment type of mechanism that you could buy from Harley, and it also requires a new seat insert. So the rider backrest on this one now has got the adjustable setting, which is just through the parts catalogue for a sum of money, one might say. The other thing about this bike is that it also has a greater adjustment for the pillion. Mrs. Bob has been on this bike a number of times, and it does have more clearance because I've put the top case, the tour pack, into its most rearward setting by the bolts. The other one had some adjustment. This one's got more, I think, and it's just better. It's got a bigger area to sit and have a bit of room. I could really feel when she was on the bike, and she's an average build pillion, but I could really feel the presence of a pillion right in behind me, whereas when she's riding this bike with me, it feels like there is more room, and she's not feeling like she's shoved right up against me. So the bike feels a little more roomy, and I think they were slightly more roomy in the dimensions. They're still about 420 kilos ready to ride, which is a pretty hefty bike, but they really are more agile and more maneuverable than you would think for the size of the bike they are. So this bike comes with a number of safety features or enhancements over previous models. It's got the same size fuel capacity as the Rushmore series bikes of the day. It's called a 6-gallon US gallon tank. I think it's about 22 litres. Over my previous bike, that was a 5-gallon tank. That changed in 2009 when the new series, well actually they changed that in 2008 to be fair, because they changed to fly-by-wire or ride-by-wire, and they changed the fuel capacity in that year, which went through to the 09 frame change series FL bikes. It's got an ABS on it, and it's also got a form of linked braking, and so if you touch the front brake independently, the back is applied, and I think vice versa, the back and the front is applied. I've never really slammed on the brakes just to get a sense that they were both working if I just hit one. It has cruise control, which is again from the Rushmore series. It's a different button set up to the previous edition that I had on earlier bikes, and it's all on the left hand thumb, which is really good, really convenient. So I've just pulled over to do a bit of a sound check, and the audio sounds really good, as you can hear. Way better than the previous mic that I had, so thanks Rode. You know, I do see a lot of people who do YouTube stuff have the clip-on Rode mics or just camera top-mounted Rode mics, so you pay a lot more than what you can get from your local electronics shop, but as you can hear, it's worth it. So we will continue. I've got this really good sort of circuit near where I live in Wellington that you can do. That's just a nice big loop, and you can do it in a number of ways, and so it gives a great ride option for you. I've also set a new GoPro field of view from Teapot One. He was saying what he does, just trying to get some of the finessing of video making just better. It's actually quite hard, I find, so I'm trying to improve. So back to the bike. I've also noticed, as I've just reviewed a bit of footage, sorry about the flapping cord. I'll have to work out something else for another video, so hopefully that's not too distracting. It's very light, so it's just sort of in the air, but I've got no other way to do anything about that at the moment. So in terms of tech, this bike has 4 gauges. The previous models before Rushmore had 6 gauges. So this has got fuel, volts, and the 2 main clocks with revs and speed. There's a man on an Indian FTR just pulled in next to me. Very nice, like any bikes. But if you can hear it through the mic, probably. If you ride, it's good enough for me. So because this is a Rushmore era bike, on the left hand switch block for your index finger on the back of the block, it's got like a toggle button, so you can scroll through some information that's in the odometer LCD screen. So let's see what we've got. I've got the mileage, total mileage, next one. Oh, it's your trip A, then your trip B. And you've got your fuel remaining indicator, which I always leave it on that, which is good, even though there's a fuel gauge. And then you've got your front tyre pressure and your rear tyre pressure. Now this bike as a 16 was the first in 16, and it may have been the first just on CVOs, I think it was to do 2 things with the tyre pressure, or the tyres. And they introduced, in 2016, a 90-degree valve stem, which is incredible because up until then it's just a straight up pointing valve stem, and really tricky, especially on the rear wheel, to have to get the valve pump on and inflate your tyres. And the other thing that they introduced on the CVO model for that year is a tyre pressure monitoring system, which now gives you a reading electronically of what the tyre pressure's at. Now that's quite handy-ish. I mean, how hard was it really ever to just stick a gauge on and check your tyres? But that's what it's got. Not sure if it adds much of a cost when you're doing your tyre maintenance, but certainly if you need to change your battery out on the tyre pressure monitoring system, that's going to be an added cost. I don't know that you can take them off and disable it, but that's what this bike has. Now, another couple of distinctive features for this model year and onwards is that it went to the slimmer primary drive cover. It's gone in by an inch, so that big round part that you can sometimes put your leg against when you've got your legs on the ground, that's an inch narrower. Now, it doesn't sound like a lot, but it does make a difference, and you notice it, or you don't notice it, you could say, when your legs are down. You don't notice the bike, which gets quite hot there, rubbing on your leg or anything like that. Another thing that they introduced on this bike was more LED lights, and the indicators, the turn signals went to LED, as did the headlight and the 2 auxiliary driving lights. They went to their Daymaker series as standard issue on the bike. Now the tail lamp, I believe, still is a regular bulb, but the indicators, as I said, they changed to the LED type. So of course it's a CVO, it comes with great paint, beautiful craftsmanship, and how the bike is painted and presented. I think this was one of 4 colours. It's in the blue and silver, and I'm sure that there is a very special fancy name for the colour combination,
but I'm just going to call it blue and silver. It's got a lovely tank emblem on it. It's just, that's the special things that I wanted in buying a CVO. A bit like some of the things that you get with a CVO is a CVO bike cover that comes with the bike. You might say, oh, bike cover, whoopee, I can get one from super cheap. You can get cheap bike covers. This one's got a nice lined, where the windscreen goes, a nice lined area with also CVO on it and a nice big emblem. Those sorts of things are nice. It comes with a special custom, well, not really custom, but it was again a new thing for the year. This bike has central locking on it, and it comes with a fob, a bit like you'd have for your car, with lock and unlock and a key that you can push a button that flips out. So when you've got the steering set to lock and you've got the handlebars in the right position, you just walk away from the bike and click the button and it locks the top case, the two side bags and the fork lock and arms it. Now that may not sound like much of a feature in some regards because it's small compared to a car, really, but it's a bit like the heated seat. Once you've used it, you use it again and again, and I think it's a great feature. So I think that's, I'm going to say, a bit of a must-have for the next bike, so I enjoy that feature. Now this bike's also fitted with the hydraulic clutch. They ran that for a few years, and again, I can't give you the exact years. I think they stopped it, I want to say in about 17. I think in about 2017 when the new Milwaukee 8s came out, they did some simplification on the limited series bikes. They dropped the rear heel toe shifter. It didn't come with certain accessories that you used to get when you bought a limited, and I think a lot of that was because of cost. They wanted to keep the bikes at a similar price, but they just removed a few features. So this bike comes with everything, and I think that's the thing I like about it. Now in other tech matters, this bike also comes with the Rushmore era touchscreen and also hand-controlled, operated stereo and maps, and all your features are in your screen. Now again, I'm sounding a bit hesitant as to what to call it. I don't really use it. Maybe that's a bit of a sin. Maybe that's lost on me a little bit. I put the radio on now and again, but if I'm riding with Junie or Bob, we have our headsets and we talk to each other, so we don't really listen to our stereos. Sometimes we do, but very often we don't. I do find that it's a little bit, I'm going to say, clunky to use. It's, for me, I'm a process type person. I don't find it very intuitive to use. It tends to sort of be, things tend to sort of feel like they're hidden a little bit, that they're not just intuitive, like tuning the radio to just get it to seek a new station and scan through. I still quite haven't figured that out yet, which is a bit of a pain. I've got the book on it. It came with all the books and the manuals. But it's like, it should feel a bit more user-friendly. Now, of course, this bike still has buttons that you can push near the screen. They've got rid of those now. And of course, on the 24 models, the whole screen of the bike is now a panel, which I'm not too sure about either. I'm a bit of an analog type of person, but with some of the features like cruise, which is really good. But that's just maybe reflective of my age, but also possibly reflective in the things that I like about life. For my watch, I don't have an electronic watch, I have an automatic mechanical Swiss watch. And so it's just sort of maybe some of those things where I appreciate the mechanics of how things work rather than all the electronic smarts of how things can work. I sort of like that engagement still. Now the thing about this, like any other Harley, certainly of the twin cam, Evo and Milwaukee 8 era, is that you can work on these bikes yourself with easy access to things like the oil filter, underneath the bike to drain oils, the air filter, the spark plugs. Now this is a twin, as in it's just 2 spark plugs, 1 each cylinder. The new Milwaukee 8s have 4, and you probably have to get under the tank for that, I'm not sure, but I know that they have 4. But just in general, the maintenance access to all parts of the bike for maintenance, even though it's a big fared bike, are right at your fingertips. I really like that about Harley-Davidson for all of their bike models. It's a great thing. So part of that Rushmore change was to change the baggage and the fairings. This bike is twin cooled, so you've lost a little bit of storage from the top of those leg lowers, and it's got a little bit of water cooling in there, liquid cooling to cool the heads, and a small little oil radiator also at the front. So it's got the twin cooled system. But in terms of the bags, they went to the one-touch bag system. So you don't have to, it was always a two-handed operation, pretty much off the bike, to have to open up the cases. Now, of course, you can be sat on the bike and you can just lean to your left or right and just grab the little one lever, open the case if you need to just pop something in or grab something out, and that's a really functional improvement. Now it's the same with the top case. The Tour Pack used to have two latches and a separate key lock, which was honestly like a little hook that would come around that was only slightly thicker than a paper clip. So it's really surprising that maybe people didn't sort of try and grab your stuff more easily if they knew about that. But this particular top case has a nice big wide one-handed latch system, but again with the central locking that's nice and firmly closed. But even if it wasn't like a regular Limited, it's really more secure. So the security on these bikes have improved in that regard. The other thing about the way that the side case is attached to the bike is, again, on older models, they were like a couple of push them in and turn them to lock them spring clips, which were fairly, I mean, they did the job, but they were fairly light, I suppose. These bikes, a bit like the Sport Glide, have like, well, it's like a nut that screws on, but it's far more substantial. It's like a little wing-nutted system that's really more secure. So again, these are all the Rushmore types of improvements that add to the functionality of the bike. Now, suspension wise, I'm not going to give you a technical rundown except to say that I think they might be 49s at the front. I know that the Dyners and the Tourers sort of went up and up over the years, but they're pretty just well sprung, and you never feel like the bike's sort of diving under braking or wallowy. So the spring rate and the way that they've done the damping is really good. Oh, big gust of wind, it almost took my breath away. Hopefully the microphone's working fine. Now in the rear, it's a bit dated actually. The system they use is still for 2016. I think they changed when the Milwaukee 8s came in, back to springs, back to sort of shock units. This bike is like the bike from many previous years before it, or even back before the frame change. This has got the air suspension system on it, and so you have got a little valve on the left hand side, and you can preload that to a certain poundage. It's usually around sort of 10, 12 as a solo rider, and 15 to 20 and possibly more depending on the weight of your luggage and a second pillion. But that's been a system that's been on Harleys for 15 years or maybe more actually. I'm not sure when they introduced it. It could be even 20 years from back when the Ultras first came in. So the reason why I bought this bike, and it's about my fourth or fifth Tourer from Harley, is that this one as a CVO is a special edition. Now they make CVO bikes every year, so it's not like it's a rare bike, but just the finish and the stuff that comes with it that was the special thing for me. The bigger engine, the chrome, the paint, the special wheels, the special edition, you know, gear selector shifter, linkage, and like I said before, the mirror stems and the footboards, they all are in their own series. You don't have to visit the parts catalogue for anything. The bags are all lined. They come with an inlined, nice, substantial liner, sort of soft liner, so that's extra. It's just all those extra things that I really like about this bike. Now, this bike also, by the previous owner, who I think was the first owner actually, has coated the bike with a paint protection film pretty much all across the front of the bike, the front guard, clearly the front fairing and the lowers, and I think even the bags and the top of the trunk. It's all been done. Again, that's just added protection that an owner has done, but that was on the bike when I got it. Now, this bike, actually, when I saw it come up for sale, I got it from a Harley shop. The previous owner had taken it in to get a service, and he got the service, got the full service done, new tyres. It's done 30,000 Ks, so right up to date service, and then actually traded it fully serviced on a new bike for himself and his wife to go touring on something else. So I've had to do nothing to this bike except keep it fueled up and enjoy the ride. So it's been a great buy for me. The shop that I got it from was going out of being a Harley store, and they've now gone out of being a dealer. There's a new one coming up in town sometime early this year, and so the shop was keen to sell it, and I made an offer that I thought, I wasn't a cheeky offer, but it was an offer nevertheless that was below what was on the ticket by quite a bit, and thankfully, and I'm very pleased to say, they accepted the offer, and I rode it away a few days later, and have been absolutely thrilled with it from day one. No buyer's regret at all. Everything about it is what I would really want in a bike. So what are the pluses and minuses of owning this CVO Ultra Limited? Well, for me, the reason I got this bike was because I always wanted a CVO edition. So the fact that it's a CVO, Custom Vehicle Operations Edition Harley, was a real part of the deal of getting it for me. I'm very thankful and grateful and happy that I did. What about things that I like about the ride or the experience? The all-day comfort and the foot position and the bars and the seat, which is plushy and heated, as I said before, just gives you all-day mileage, and you want to keep going. On the rally last year, we had a 650 kilometre day or so. Absolutely fine. Okay, we were a bit tired. That's a long way in any vehicle. But you didn't get off going, oh, I can't do another K. It's a great, comfortable, capable all-day tourer. I love that. Things I like about it, I like the colour, I like the look of that, I like the special edition features, you know, the footboards, the wheels, all of that stuff that all tie in. I like the power. It's actually nice and torquey, as I said, in comparison to my 2007 Ultra. Of course, there's a few years difference, but just the way that it cruises, it's quieter on that regard. It's got some pipes. I think it's got the stock inlet and everything, but it's just, you know, it's a Harley, but it's not in your face loud. I love the features. I love the heated things and the cruise control. I like that. I like the shelter from the wind. But if I just quickly zip over to one of the features that I don't like, as I mentioned before, it's that sort of updraft when I've got my full face helmet on that gives me quite an uncomfortable ride. Well, an uncomfortable head sensation. It's just like that dull, low frequency that after you get off from a number of hours under that, it's not like it's a real bad noise, but you get off knowing that you've been in that, and I don't know how to fix that short of getting another helmet for, you know, again, how much is that going to cost? So Not a major, but it is like a thing. Conveniences, I've already mentioned this of course, but what I love, because I'm talking about things I like, love that central locking feature. Just click your button and walk. Oh man, that's so good. So I love central locking. You could almost argue, well, if you want central locking, get yourself a car. It's like, well, they've managed to put it on a bike, so it's great. But as for the bike itself, there is nothing that I don't like about it. I mean, it's big and heavy when you're at a standstill or when you're maneuvering it slowly, but it's a tourer. It's going to be heavy. It's going to have some weight. But man, once you are running, it is really, really good. And it, like I say, handles far better than you think it might for the size of the bike that it is. And it's just smooth, and it's comfortable, and all of those great things. And that's what you get with a bigger bike. You know, there's a bit of wind, you don't get blown all over the place. It's planted on the road nicely. It's got a smooth drive line. This bike has the Cush drive system, which was introduced in 2008, and it's just, yeah, really cushy. It's not clunky and rough. It's just nice and smooth. So all in all, my summary is that this 2016 CVO Ultra Limited from Harley-Davidson is a great bike. If you want to do some miles, if you want to have a bike with character, yes, it's going to cost you a little more than a regular Ultra Limited of the day, of the year that you're looking for, but you get those extra features, that slight little up spec in how it looks and how it feels for you, with also some extras in the garage, like your cover, some of your books and the liners and bits and bobs like that. So it's just that sort of slight special version that is, if you're looking for something like that and you want to feel special when you ride it, that's what a CVO for me does, as well as obviously having a bit more grunt over a regular edition for the same year with the bigger engine, slightly different features. I think this has got slightly uprated brake discs at least. I think the rotors are still on the, is it the caliper or the rotor? I can never remember which way around. The thing that does the gripping on the disc is the same as it has been for years. The calipers, the rotors are the spinning things. Mileage wise, when you fill up with your 22 litres, because it's got a trip remaining, it gives you, well, it was indicating for both me and Junior Bob actually, with his previous era Ultra to me, he's got the 96 cubic inch twin cam, and we both went to the rally together. We were like within millilitres of fuel and within cents of each other on the dollar when it came to filling up. And so, like I say, he's got the smaller engine by about 300cc. So whatever they've done, they've made it, I think, really quite fuel efficient. So you get a good run out of each tank. So it was indicating high 300s per tank in kilometres, which, look, by the time you've done 200 to 300, you're probably ready to get off and stretch your legs and have a drink or something anyway. So it's certainly got the range. Oh, well, thanks for joining me today. This is Bobberbob on the Bobberbob channel, giving you the review of this beautiful 2016 Ultra Limited from Harley-Davidson, a CVO edition bike. Now, if I've missed something, or you're really keen on knowing something about this bike or about this particular model of bike in the series from Harley-Davidson, drop me a comment and ask me a question. More than happy to try and answer it as best I can. TotalMotorcycle.com is a great resource of a website to look up any bike, specifically by the year and the model and the brand, to give you a breakdown of all what the factory specs and blurb would be for that year. Go and look at this bike on TotalMotorcycle.com. You'll find all the information of its gear ratios and wheel sizes and weight and features that were new for the bike for the year, all of those sorts of things. So that'll be a wealth of information. I appreciate you tuning in, and thanks for watching. If you'd like to subscribe to the channel, that would be super cool. Really glad to have you along. If you want to give me a like, do that as well. And if you want to put a comment in, I answer all comments and get back to everyone that makes a comment on my channel. I like the engagement and appreciate you for watching. So until next time, this is Bobberbob. Ride safe, and I'll see you see you later.